You know when you move to a new country and you go to a barbecue and you're all standing in the room and then you say something and then the room just goes silent and you're like, oh, shouldn't have said that. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Apparently, there are some things that you should never, ever say when you live in New Zealand.
Just the atmosphere at the table, it was just bang.
Let's jump into the episode and find out what those 7 things are.
It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about things not to say when you come to New Zealand. 7 things you must not say.
7.
Yeah. If you haven't been to the channel before, we're Liz and Brian, husband and wife. We talk about all things travel, about New Zealand, living in New Zealand, moving to New Zealand, basically how fab New Zealand is.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do this. I was really interested to do this with you, Bri, because 7 things not to say when you're in New Zealand. And I'm not joking, about 6.5 of them you've said. In fact, you say on a regular basis.
Regularly.
You've been living here 12 years now. We've been living here 12 years and we're still learning. So
Yeah, you learn every day of your life, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's jump straight into it. Hang on, let me get my... Oh, do you like our chairs? Look, we brought them in from outside.
Yep.
We wanted 2 little chairs to sit and do the podcast on, and we can't find the right size. And then we remembered that we had these little garden chairs. So we dusted all the cobwebs and moss off them and brought them in. And so, yeah.
Yep, and here they are.
The outside in.
Spiders crawling over us and everything.
Okay, number 1 thing that you should never say when you come to New Zealand is, oh, you live in New Zealand, so you're from Auckland, yeah?
I've never heard that before.
You should never say it, yeah.
Wow.
I got these off the internet.
All right. Yeah.
There's 40 of them and I picked out 7 of the things that you always say.
What part of Australia is that then?
No, stop ruining it.
Oh, really?
No, that's not one of the questions anyway. But anyway, so what part of Auckland are you from? Do you think people say that?
I've never heard, but I can imagine because Auckland, a quarter of the population live in Auckland. So, yeah.
So they just think, oh, it's like saying I'm from England and, oh, yeah, you must live in London sort of thing. Don't say that because there are other places in New Zealand other than Auckland. Yeah. Very nice places, actually. Yeah. Shall I tell the story about when we first came to New Zealand and that really rude woman said that thing to us?
I think we've told that once before.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, you're having it again.
Right.
So we turned up in New Zealand. I haven't said it. I haven't.
I think we did it in an early podcast a long time ago.
Oh, they were forgotten about that by now. We turned up to New Zealand, literally wet behind the ears, just moved to New Zealand.
First morning, actually.
Really excited, thinking, we're going to start our new life in New Plymouth. Because Brian had got a job in New Plymouth and we go and hire a car from the rental car company and they came and picked us up from the airport in the rental car picked
us up from the jet park.
Yeah, from the hotel, that was it.
Yeah.
Hey, is Jet Park the one now that has all the COVID stuff going on?
Jet Park's the MIQ.
It rang a bell then.
Yeah. It's most people stay at the Jet Park. It's close to the airport. I mean, there are other hotels available, obviously, but that's the one that you tend to just because you stayed in it the first time you came.
I love the Jet Park. Do you think it'll ever be the same for the Jet Park now, though? Because it was all. Cause when you say Jet Park now, it's like, oh yeah, that's where you stay in MIQ.
MIQ.
How are they going to rid themselves of that? This was the quarantine facility.
Well, I suppose they're jolly happy because, realistically, most of the hotels would have no airport.
No, never been busier, have they, Brian?
We'll be MIQ. Yeah. MIQ, which is, it's, what does it stand for?
Don't know.
Quarantine.
The thing when you come over, and I don't know what MIQ stands for, but it's when you come over.
I do. I've known it so many times, but I hate, what's it called when you abbreviate words and things and you just...
Acronyms.
Is it acronyms? I can't remember the name for it. But when you speak to someone in the army and it's the PCYI. It's like, what?
I know,
Yeah, I nearly swore.
But it's the hotel that you go in when you come to New Zealand and go into quarantine. And so we were staying at the Jet Park. We're digressing, but we stayed in the Jet Park.
No doubt someone will tell us what MIQ is.
We're staying in the Jet Park and this woman turns up and we're all really excited. The kids are really young. We're like, yay, our new life in New Zealand. Like I say, moving down to New Plymouth. So she said, oh, welcome to New Zealand. In fact, she didn't say that. She's like, you're right. She's like really...
She was really downbeat, wasn't she?
She was, like misery guts.
I don't like working here type thing.
Real misery, which is unusual for New Zealand, especially for Kiwi.
Not off to a good start.
No. Yeah. But we thought, okay, well, you've got a job where you have to drive to the airport and literally it was only 5 minutes around the road, which would be a bit of a rubbish job because you'd want to put your foot down and get going and then it'd be time to stop, wouldn't it?
If you don't like people, don't get a job in when you front her house on anything.
No.
Yeah.
But she goes, "Oh, where are you guys staying then? Where are you going to be living?" And we said, "Oh, New Plymouth." And she's like, "New Plymouth? Why would anyone want to live in?" Didn't she?
Yeah. If the whole of New Zealand, anyone want to live there?
Yeah. And we were like, "Oh, we'd never been." And we were like,
Thanks.
"Oh, is it really bad?" And she's like, "Oh, it's awful." And she's just like, but she didn't speak like that because she wasn't posh. But she's like, like that, didn't she?
Yeah.
She did that thing.
It was just the
like,
disgusted look of like, is that the best you could come up with?
And I remember thinking, oh no, and it really put a downer on it, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
So anyway, don't tell people they live in
It didn't
Auckland.
bother us at all because 12 years on, we're not talking about it.
We're not bitter.
Yeah.
So don't say to people, do you live in Auckland? And don't say to people who are just about to start their new life in New Plymouth that New Plymouth's rubbish.
Yeah, but that's the problem with Auckland.
Right, number 2. Our friend moved to New Zealand in 1989.
Which one was that?
Listen, this is the saying. Right. This is the saying.
I was going to say, we haven't got any friends.
No, right. Number 2, this is what you should never say to people in New Zealand.
Right.
So just pretend you're talking, pretend you're a New Zealander, right? And I'm talking to you and you're like, oh yeah, my friend moved to New Zealand in 1989. Do you know them? You should never say that.
No.
Why do you think that? What do you think it means?
Do you know what, though?
What?
Probably in New Zealand they would.
I was thinking that.
It's just, yeah. We just had we just had some people around, didn't we? We were just doing an interview and stuff, and you just mention one thing. Oh, they're my niece and nephew.
You've got to be so careful.
Like,
You've got to be so careful.
Yeah.
Don't take that. You need to take that seriously.
Yeah. So actually, I know that would, and in most countries that would probably upset people, but in New Zealand they probably do know them.
They do.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone.
There's always a connection.
Can you believe it? I was stood up at a bus stop in Wellington. This is like going back a few months ago when we went to Wellington, me and Tess. I was standing in the bus stop and this lady comes up and she's like, which is lovely because this is what New Zealanders do. They will just start talking to you. We've talked about that before. I said, where do you live? And I was, that shithole New Plymouth. No, not really.
Oh, why did you choose that?
We live in New Plymouth. She went, oh yeah, my sister-in-law lives in New Plymouth. Her name's, and then she gave me her surname. Yeah. Her name's Bennett. Or she's something like that.
Right, bus is here.
And I'm like, I was like, and I just thought,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many thousand people are in New Zealand.
Yeah.
New Plymouth.
Do you know John Smith?
But what's the chances of? And people will often say that to you. They're like, oh yeah, you live in Taranaki. So do you know the Greaveses or the whatever the name is or something, don't they?
Yeah, but when you had that mobile theatre company, I think we might have talked about this before, but we bought a trailer from Rotorua, 5-hour drive. And you get there.
You snooze, you lose.
Yeah, you snooze, you lose. And my sister works in the BP.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. It says don't say that, but just say it anyway. Right, number 3. Here's one you're going to like, Brian. You've never ever said this. Football is much better than rugby.
That's it. Well, next. It's called the beautiful game for a reason. Yeah.
Don't come to New Zealand. If you're not a silly man like Brian, don't come to New Zealand and start spouting off about the football. Yeah. They don't want to hear it, Bri. Yeah. They're a rugby nation.
Yeah. And that's it. That's where it ends, isn't it? Because, you just can't... I can't remember the word I was going to say then, but anyway.
I think they can take it with a bit.
You can wind them up a little bit, but not great deals. There's a lot of secret football supporters in New Zealand.
I think
there really is. It's like my accountant, Kiwi through and through, and he supports Arsenal. I mean, the arses of all the teams. It's a bit like, why would you go to New Plymouth? Why would you support? What's the name of the team? Arsenal. Yeah, that's how they play.
No, say you're joking.
No.
No, but we have talked about this stacks before, and we did a little video, actually, just a fun little video when England were in the European Cup or whatever it was.
The European finals.
Yeah. And we did a video about living in New Zealand and supporting the English football team. And I think, like you say, on YouTube especially, you get them coming out the woodwork, don't you? And going, oh, I like football. Yeah. I don't support rugby.
I've lived in New Zealand. I'm a Kiwi. I hate rugby.
I couldn't believe it when someone said that the other day.
Yeah, good on them.
And their name was on the thing.
I know, yeah. And they're coming round to your house now.
I'd be too scared to say that.
Yeah.
Would you?
I would. But it's funny, though, when I think New Zealand were in the World Cup, would be probably 8 years ago now, something like that.
Football
maybe.
or rugby?
Football.
Oh, there is a football team here then.
Of course there is.
I didn't know that.
Well, it's the All Whites, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it is.
Oh, right. So there is a football team.
Of course there is.
Well, what are you complaining about
There's
then?
Premier League players that are New Zealander. What's his name? His name is... he plays for Burnley, and I can see him, and I think he's number 10.
You've never told me that.
Yeah.
Oh, hand on heart, I thought that I knew they had. They're obviously rugby. I knew they had
Of course
women's.
there is. There's. I used to.
Stop saying "course there is," because how am I supposed to know that?
Well, I used to coach football at the school.
Yes, like doing like little kick-arounds at the school.
Yeah, but that's how it starts,
but
isn't it?
I didn't know they had a national team, a proper team.
Yeah.
Are they? Is it good?
Well, do you know what? They never lost. They drew every game. And even against the world champions at the time, which I think were Italy. This is just trying to get my memories. You're talking. No, we hadn't been here that long, and it was the All Whites are doing good.
Oh, isn't that something you learn every day? I swear to God, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just thought
they've got some great players. Yeah, they have, and I can't remember the name of.
So where's all the supporters then that you can go and play with and have a little chat down the pub?
Well, you look at the cafe we go to, High Tide. Ming, who is the cafe owner, he plays football on Saturday afternoons.
Yeah, but I just assumed that was like a general kick around, something to do. I didn't know that they. Oh, anyway, obviously I didn't.
But Sean, one of the kids' friends. He plays football with his dad.
I know that. I know that people play football in New Zealand, but what I'm saying is I didn't know they had a team that went and played against other people in the world.
They've got to qualify with other countries.
So I wonder why then that you do just constantly hear about nothing other than rugby.
Because that's what it's known as. The All Blacks wouldn't be the All Blacks without that constant stream of talent coming through.
Yeah, but it's like living in Italy and going, oh yeah, we're only ever going to talk about pizza. We're never going to talk about pasta. But it's two good things they've got. Why do we not hear more about football?
The Italians are so passionate about football.
Yeah, I know.
But they've got an Italian rugby team.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Oh.
See, Liz never watches rugby. You can
quite
see, when you have the Five Nations.
Why would I? I'm watching SpongeBob like that guy on the YouTube comments.
You grew up with the Five Nations, which was Italy, France, England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. It's the Five Nations. Was that Five Nations? Or Six Nations? Six Nations. Yeah, well, that's right, because, That's how much I know. The Six Nations. It's big. It's a tournament every year in the.
Oh right.
In
but
Europe.
You know what I mean, though, Bri? Using that Italy example, it's. I don't know. It's just I never ever hear about it.
Yeah.
Do you? Probably not.
No, but you don't. It's just it's rugby and that's it.
Right.
They say you're going to go and watch the footy, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then it's.
They don't actually. They don't say that. They say soccer.
No, that's what I'm saying. They say footy as rugby.
Oh.
Go and watch the footy.
Oh God, now I'm totally confused.
Yeah. Soccer is American. Don't ever call it soccer. It's not soccer. It's football, and that's it. Yeah, it's called FIFA for a reason. Number four
things never to say when you come to New Zealand is, well, New Zealand is part of the Commonwealth of part of the Commonwealth, so Britain technically owns you. Ooh.
Ooh, you've got that Union Jack on your flag.
Ooh, I know. You wouldn't say that, would you, Bri?
No,
hey?
That's a bit. It's a bit like saying the same to Canada or Australia, like You know, what's the population of Australia now? 25 mil, is it something like that? And then there's another 5 million here, and you've got. It's just like actually, there's more people in the Commonwealth than what's actually back in England or back in the UK. Yeah.
Is there? Is that true, or have you just made that up?
No, I would imagine it is. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, you must never say that. That's not a good thing to say, is it? Like, you know.
No.
But, and I'm going to, put my neck out a little bit here, Bri. What I don't understand, right, is like when we talked to Gordy that time, you know, like Gordy did a fabulous interview with us, and he's a 5th generation Kiwi, and his original family came from. I don't know if it was Scotland or Gordy, I can't quite remember, but it was either Scotland or England, wasn't it?
Was it Ireland? Weren't they missionaries from Ireland or something?
Okay.
Yeah.
So they come over from the UK.
Yep.
But so there's no denying that you've got UK blood here, and there's lots, of all like English, Irish, and Scottish. But Bri, do you think? I sometimes think that the Kiwis prefer the Americans to us. And I
Well, do you know what someone once
you know,
said to me is, you know, obviously with the connection between the UK and New Zealand was because of that's where a lot of the pioneers came from. You know, that's why we've got New Plymouth, because they came from the southwest of Cornwall. A lot of them, a lot of Scottish went down to the South Island, so there was always that connection. But in recent times, people have said, well, you know, America is a lot closer. It's only 12 hours away, isn't it? It's not 24 hours away. You know, it's 4 weeks on a ship, not 8 weeks on a ship. Sort of thing.
I get a bit confused though, because like I say, I feel as if we're all one big family. Like, you know, we all came from, you know, all over, but basically a lot of us came from the UK.
Yep.
So, but sometimes I feel like a little bit, I don't want to say, I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know how to say it without sounding like a little baby that's complaining. I don't want to be complaining, but it's almost like, you know, like, we don't want to know about your Britishness. You're in New Zealand now. But when the Americans come over, it's like, oh yeah, America. We can't, you know, I don't know. It just seems to be...
They've adopted a lot of American things, but that comes down to, for want of, it's not propaganda, but it's that Hollywood films, you know, you look at all the films. Who doesn't want to be American when you're watching, you know, you go back to the 80s, you're watching Top Gun. Why wouldn't you want to be playing, you know, volleyball on the beach like that, like, you know, and all that sort of stuff, and riding flash bikes with, you know, you look at James Dean and all those ones, Elvis. It was so big. I mean, why did you want to be British? You know, why wouldn't you want to be American? And that's what you see a lot of people. They drive a lot of American cars here, don't they? Like, you know, we've done a podcast on that.
I don't mean they want to be American.
No, but
I don't mean
it rubs off.
Yeah, but it's almost like if there was like someone from England and someone from California standing in the same room, I bet you the Kiwis would go and speak to the person from California.
You do, because you hear the American accent, you warm to it because that's what you grow up
maybe
with.
Maybe it's just because it's like, we've had loads of Brits over here.
Yeah,
come on, let's get some Americans.
My dad was from England. Like, you know, I've said that once before, doing a course in Auckland, and everyone, you Poms come over and you're doing this, and it's like, where are you from?
Yeah, and they never said that to the Americans.
No, but they were born in England.
Yeah.
You know, and I came over when I was 4 years old. Well, you say you're a Pom then? No, I'm not a Kiwi.
Is that what someone said to you?
Yeah.
What? And they were born in England, and they were calling you a Pom?
Calling me a Pom.
That's not.
But everyone in the room.
Who was it?
I can't remember his
name.
Tell me. I was doing a backflow prevention, water backflow prevention course.
Nothing like a backflow prevention course.
Like a bit of backflow, mate. Yeah.
God, Brian, you did some good stuff.
We just ended up laughing because everyone was from England, you know, or their parents were, like, you know.
Did you shout him out and say, you're from England?
Yeah, I just said, I said, where were you born? I said, you know, thinking he's going to say Auckland, because, you know, that's where everyone's from in New Zealand, obviously. And he said, I was born in Wolverhampton. I said, you're a Pom then? No, I was right, you're a Brummie. And he's like, he got really like, I went to school over here, you know?
Yeah,
and it's just like, and...
Yeah. Get your red bands off, you're a Brit.
You're the same as me, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There you go.
All right,
we ended up being quite good friends at the end.
Do you remember when we went to Whistler to do that?
Whistler in Canada.
Yeah, we worked in Whistler in Canada, and we were hosting this chalet. We've talked about it before on our Canada versus New Zealand podcast. Yep. And do you remember that really posh guy, Bri? The Scottish, remember we called it like this, it was like a Scottish snob. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Alistair, was it Alistair? Or something like that.
We used to get some really posh, it was really high end.
Yes.
That's obviously why they employed us and to do their cooking. And this family came over, we called them the royal family, and they were really, really posh. And the guy, the head of the family, he was giving you a hard time, wasn't he? Saying, you know...
He was just talking about, you know, because it's like, where are you from? And, you know, he was this, as his wife called him jokingly, he was a feudal landlord from Scotland, had an estate, a castle, and employed people and had people renting stuff and everything like that. And I just said, so you don't sound you're Scottish, because he just had this public school boy accent, didn't he? Like, you know,
talked everything like that.
Bloody hell, he was like almost like royalty. And he went, well, I was born in England. I said, but you're not Scottish then? Yes, I am. My bloodline's Scottish. And I'm like, well, whereabouts in England were you born? I was born on the Wirral, which is the other side of Liverpool, across the Mersey. I said, you're a Scouser then, mate.
Oh, no.
And just the atmosphere at the table, it was just bang. And it was just like,
So you go from being a Scottish lord to a Scouser.
The Scottish feudal landlord to a Scouser. Yeah.
All right, okay.
You'll be headbutting someone soon.
Yeah. Right, moving on then. So what number was that? Number 5? Number 4. Oh, God, number 4. Right, number 5, does your toilet flush the wrong way because you live in New Zealand? I don't get this.
Well, it's about how the water goes down, like the plug hole.
Yeah. Is that true?
Do you know what? It's so... No, I don't...
Did you remember when we went to Kenya and the water went round the bath the wrong way? Remember?
Yeah, but we're right on the equator there.
Yeah.
And I think it was, it was almost like, they just started stirring it the other way. I think naturally it can, but...
Who started stirring it?
Well, if you just... I don't know. You know when you turn the taps on and it swirls around? It doesn't all of a sudden stop when you plug it out. It keeps swirling the same way.
Well, who could have swirled it?
Well, this is what they say. It's because, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere... the water will go that way down the plug one, and it's supposed to go the other way here. I've never really taken any notice of it that much.
Yes, you have. Don't lie. When we went to Kenya, you was going, look at the water going the different way.
I said, let's see if it does. And it's just like, if I ran the hot tap, it went that way down. If I ran the cold tap, it went the other way down.
So
it didn't just stop and turn itself around.
I want to still go back a minute. Let's just pause. Who is swirling the water the wrong way around, Brian?
Well, do you know what?
A big giant sitting on the equator.
Someone blowing the water out. Yeah, no. It's supposed to be, the turn of the centrifugal force or whatever it is that's supposed to turn this water around the wrong way. Yeah. Well, so it must be true, but you never really notice.
So does it go the wrong way around in New Zealand? That's all I want to know.
It's what's right and what's wrong.
Or does it go to the opposite of England, let's say?
It's supposed to, yes. If you had a swirling
sensation...
You
don't know, do you?
Do you know what? It shouldn't really on a toilet. Just wherever the water comes out on the rim, it's how it's going to make it swirl.
Right, okay. Number 5. So that was number 5. So let's just put a line under that so you don't know the answer to that. So anyway, don't ever say, does your toilet flush the wrong way? And don't ask Brian because he doesn't know, even though he's a plumber. Yeah. Number 6, don't ever say to a New Zealander, when you're in New Zealand, sausage sizzles are overrated.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Sausage sizzle.
Saucies?
Yeah, saucies, a national dish.
I know.
You don't say they're overrated.
No, you can't really say it's overrated because it's nothing like, when the kids were small, you'd go to the local shop, even if it's a supermarket, somewhere with a car park outside normally. And on Saturday, there's always a saucy sizzle on the go, isn't there? Raising money.
Outside warehouse.
It's $1 or a couple of dollars. Gold coin donation, which they have a lot. You get a sausage, one piece of bread, on the angle, saucy in the middle, maybe a few onions. Ketchup. Or mustard or whatever it is you want, and away you go for $1.
It's flipping lovely.
It's always good.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no problem because they always use the pre-cooked sausages. So, it's it's just a bag of pre-cooked sausages that they throw on and brown up on the barbecue.
If you've got kids and you're living in New Zealand, and if you're veggie, then maybe they do veggie ones as well, though. Maybe they do veggie sausages.
Well, it's not really a sausage then, is it? But
no, but anyway, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And I think we've told you this story before when we were camping down the Blue Lake in Rotorua. Have we told that story when there was all that? There was kids swimming in the water, and their dad was pulling up the boat, and the kid shouts so loud across the lake, "Dad, what's for tea?" And the dad shouts back, "Saucies," and the kid goes, "Yeah!"
He was so happy, wasn't he?
Brilliant. And so we've always said
big
that
flash
now.
Boat.
Yeah, massive
big
flash
proper
boat.
ski Nordique ski boat, whatever they're called. There's us in our little crappy $5,000 boat, and he's got this $100,000 thing, and they're having sausages for tea.
We've always said that it's just like, it's the best thing. It's just, what better way? Sausage on the barbecue. So, yeah.
Right.
Oh, hang on. The dog's just having a drink of water.
I know.
Right, number 7.
Don't.
No, leave it in.
Oh, I will leave it in,
but they want to listen to her having a drink of water. She knows if the water goes down the wrong way. I know. Right, number 7, the last thing that you should not say to people if you are living in New Zealand, just don't say this. And we've said it, hand on heart, we've said it a lot. And we're going to make a very special episode just on this subject alone, but we're waiting for nearer Christmas time. Do not say to a New Zealander, a hot Christmas just isn't the same as a cold Christmas. Yeah. They get really annoyed when you say that.
They do. Yep. Because it is.
Don't say you don't like ham either. That's another one. There's a bonus one for you.
Yeah, it's funny because you have Christmas cards here and they've got snow on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, after living here for 12 years, it's absolutely brilliant having a hot Christmas.
Yeah.
And as much as you can go, oh no, it's not what, it's brilliant.
But still watch our video that we're going to make on
we're going to make a
Christmas.
Christmas
We're going
one.
to tell you the fors and against.
Yeah, we're going to get the tree up.
Yeah,
and
we're
stuff
waiting
like
for
that.
the tree to go up.
Yeah.
We'll make it for you.
Yeah. So we'll do that tomorrow. No.
Yeah.
But yes, it's what I love the best about Christmas, which we will talk about that when we do that video, is it's the start of the summer holidays.
I know.
And it's just, so you're normally going to take at least 2 weeks off after Christmas. You're going to have like a few days before, and it's just a great feeling. There's none of that doom and gloom in January when it's all cold and wet and taking the decorations down, and it's just nothing to look forward to now until Easter.
Anyway, save it, Brian.
No, we will.
We're not going to have anything to talk about otherwise.
It's just, there's nothing quite like going to pick up the Christmas tree, playing Melicky Licky Mocker in the morning.
Yeah. It's nice that, isn't it? But I can see why, if you'd never experienced a cold Christmas and you've lived in New Zealand, you're born in New Zealand, you've never had a cold Christmas. I could see why you'd get annoyed if people just said, oh, it's not the same. Where's the snow? And
yeah, but all right,
we just like a cold Christmas. We only like turkey. Yeah. Don't ever say that.
But the thing is how many years 46 years I lived in England, apart from probably 1960, I don't know, what would have been 1967, and it snowed, or 68. But realistically, probably one or two after that you had snow. You might have had a sprinkling or a bit of frost on the morning.
Yeah.
Just used to
rain. I think
rain.
everyone should experience both. Anyway, let's not talk any more about that, because
we'll
otherwise we're going to ruin it, because that's going to be a really, really good podcast. So those 7 things. How many of those 7 things have you said, do you reckon?
Probably most of them.
Yeah.
I haven't said the toilet going around the wrong way.
Well, it's because you don't know the answer.
Yeah, flushes the wrong way. What does it come out of the toilet?
The big giant. Ooh. Yeah. Brian's coming to Kenya. Yeah. All right, so we hope you enjoyed this show on what not to say when you come to New Zealand.
Yep. And what we're going to recommend to watch next?
Well, why don't you go? I don't know, because we haven't planned it. So thanks so much for watching.
Yep.
And if you would like to come with us now and watch the 7 rookie mistakes that we made when we first came to New Zealand, and we're still making them now, so we haven't learnt much. Yep. And just come and watch that video with us. And we talk all about the things that we just totally stuffed up on when we first moved to New Zealand.
Yeah, it's just those simple things that you just think, oh, do this, get this, or oh, yep.
Yeah. And I just want to say, as always, a huge thank you to you all listening on the podcast, on YouTube, taking the time to comment, saying hello. We really, really appreciate you. We're so grateful that you're here. We love knowing that you're with us and watching and listening with us. It's just fabulous.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Listen, thanks for watching. Watch the next video. Kia kaha, stay strong.
Kia u, stay true.
There you go.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, bye.
Okay, bye.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him.
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Ooh, look at you.
Well, you didn't say it.
No, but you did. So that's good.
Oh, you're supposed to say
Kia
it.
kaha. Cute.